what's up, guys? Welcome back to the studios. Locke here, and today we're talking about World Boss Legend. I've been getting some questions in the Discord server. Specifically, I have one of my Alliance members who also happens to be in the Discord server was asking me about clearing World Boss Legend Knull. And I know there's some out there that also want some help with clearing Mephisto. Especially if you've never cleared them before, it can be a little daunting to understand the attack patterns and such, and what to do, when to do it, when not to do it, to be able to clear this game mode. So I decided to go ahead and make this video here. Now, I did make a sort of a tutorial in a previous video way back, but I decided let's go ahead and do a little bit more of a detailed video on World Boss Legend. So I do apologize to you guys. This video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but that's because I'm going to be going over Knull and Mephisto both in this video. So first off, you're gonna want to pick the right team. So for this video, just to help save time, we're going to drop down to stage 5. But your team sets are going to be very vital. So like my team sets here, I use Captain Marvel, Supergiant, and Mystique. For this team, I use Knull, Carnage, and Proxima Midnight. For this team, I use Star-Lord lead for Sharon and Mephisto. And for this team, I use Doctor Strange for his lead and Ignore Dodge. For Moonstone and Silk here. And for this team, I use Medusa lead for Odin, as well as Valkyrie support. Okay, so you have your basic setup for teams. I'm not going to go over this part for both Knull and Mephisto. This is going to be vital for both of them, in a sense. The way I set up my characters is, for the truly meta characters like Supergiant, etc., I bring a lead and a support because I know she can solo it without issue. Other teams, for instance, this team, I bring Sharon and Mephisto both. Both are great DPSs for the game mode, but sometimes Sharon can get a little stuck, so it's good to have another character. Specifically, I'm using Mephisto because he does have a revive. So if I need to sacrifice, say I get into a tight spot and I need to sacrifice a character to keep Sharon alive, then I have Mephisto to do so. And he's useful for that twice because he has a revive, which he'll revive, and then I can switch back to Sharon to get out of that tight spot. And then if she gets into another one, he can die again. They're, by all intents and purposes, losing the character altogether, but at least my Sharon can still continue on. Same for this one, Moonstone as well as Silk. My Silk has great high dodge, more so than my Moonstone. So I use my Moonstone for my main DPS, and then Silk is my secondary DPS, where if I get in a tight spot, Silk can use her dodge to either dodge attacks and save my Moonstone from dying, or die herself, thereby sacrificing her for the life of my Moonstone so I can finish, right? And same thing for here. I have Medusa as well as Valkyrie, who are a lead and a support to help keep my Odin alive when necessary, right? So key thing to take from this is especially if you're just starting World Boss Legend in any capacity, it's best to take 2 DPS, one will be your main DPS, and the second will be what I like to call the sacrificial DPS, when you get into tight spots, or to help you throw in extra damage on a switch by either using the T3 or the Awakening. I strongly suggest, if your main DPS is tier 3, let your sacrificial DPS be an awakened character, because you can switch to the awakened character, pop the awakened rotation, let it play through, switch back to your tier 3, and while you're continuing on with your tier 3 character, your awakened character's 6 skill timer will still be counting down. So when you need it the most, it'll already you won't have to wait, right? And then either one lead or one support. Don't take both because you need the double DPS. Especially if you have no pierce, you're going to want the double DPS to help you clear the content, and one lead or support. As for your strikers, striker-wise, you're going to want to take ignore dodge, definitely. I'm going to go out on a limb and say if you're just starting this out, you probably don't have 5 clears a day, like I do. So what you're going to want to do here, there's a total of, I believe it's 5 ignore dodge strikers. So if you have between 1 and 3 clears a day, right, you're going to want to split these ignore dodge strikers between your 1 to 3 clears a day, however many you have. So if you have 1, then I would suggest putting 3 of your 5 ignore dodge strikers in your striker list, and then taking 2 increased damage to villains by 10%, or somebody who has an ability much like Red Skull here, Cosmic Cube, increases damage dealt to superheroes and supervillains by 12%. There's other characters who have that, like Hydra Cap, Silver Surfer, as you can see there. I think Odin has it, maybe. Cosmic Ghost Rider has it, etc., etc. Bring 2 of those, or somebody like Luna, or Blue Marvel, Ancient One, etc., etc., that has the 10% increased damage to villains. I strongly suggest when attacking. Like you can see, Angels here has when attacked, or White Fox has it when attacking. You want it when attacking. That way it procs or activates when you initiate a combo. If you have 2, then you can do 3 and 2, ignore dodge, and then your increased damage to villains by 10%, or of course the 12% one. If you have 3 clears, then you're going to be sort of limited, right? So I would suggest 2 in the first 2, and in the third put your last ignore dodge striker, and then that last one just stack up with as much increased damage to super villains as possible. And I would also suggest for that third team, if you have one, or specifically if you have Proxima, Midnight Tier 3, or Doctor Strange Tier 3, you put them as your lead because they have ignored dodge. Or Gambit would be another good choice. Any ignore dodge leadership to go along with your team. But World Boss Legend is going to be big on ignore dodge. You're going to want to have that in your strikers if you don't have a high ignore dodge leadership or a high ignore dodge support like White Fox, like Christmas White Fox, or Valkyrie in her new uniform. That will help you get those hits in where otherwise you wouldn't. So definitely make sure you set up your strikers and your teams correctly to ensure that you have enough ignore dodge to actually do enough damage to clear the stage. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing stage 1 or stage 9, you're still going to want this. Excluding those teams that have ignore dodge like these here, which I don't really bring ignore dodge for these teams because I get enough from my leaderships or supports, etc. Having said that, let's go ahead and let me quickly go over Mephisto's on this. For Mephisto, yeah, you're going to want to ignore dodge as well. Same goes for both. But Mephisto's a little bit differently. On your second, again, your sacrificial DPS, I would highly suggest somebody who runs fast. Right? Especially if your main DPS has slow movement speed. Make sure that your sacrificial DPS runs really fast. Somebody like Black Bolt, somebody like Gambit, Human Torch, Silver Surfer, Sentry, etc. Somebody who has fast movement speed, because when you get into those Roman numeral mini games that Mephisto likes to play, You're going to want somebody who can run fast so you don't get caught by his circular attack that gets you stuck, and then you end up having to wiggle the bar back and forth. You don't want to get stuck in those. You want to be able to hit each one of the Roman numeral circles to progress to get him out of that phase, right? So make sure your sacrificial DPS is somebody who runs fast. If nothing else, take a leadership that is like Sentry or Silver Surfer, who can remove debuffs. That way, if you do get caught, you can run right out of his circle because you get that debuff removal, right? So take those two pieces of advice very intensely because you're going to need it, right? So Mephisto, you want to remove debuff lead, or you want somebody with fast movement speed as your sacrificial DPS. One or the other. Don't bring both, just one or the other. Alright, having said that, let's go ahead and jump in to some content here. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to do a Knull run, and then I'm going to do a Mephisto run so you can kind of see some of the gameplay. I'm going to use somewhat of a weaker team here. Yeah, we'll go with this team. I'll take out Mephisto and we'll use somebody else. Somebody at random. Who are we going to use at random? We'll throw in Hulk. We'll just say Hulk. And we'll run with this team. As you can see, oh, well, not Hulk. Somebody else besides Hulk, because I don't want to mess with my strikers here. We'll take Dormammu. He's got a revive. Alright, so we got our strikers set up. I've got no ignore dodge on this team. What do I have? Yeah, now I got one ignore dodge. Misty Knight, I think she has ignore dodge. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump in here. We'll look at his patterns as we play, and I'll explain what I do, why I do it, and for what reason, and when it's best to do this. Alright, so starting off, you're going to see me run into the left-hand corner, and I'll wait about 1.5 to 2 seconds before I pop my 3 into the 4, and you'll notice that when I pop my 4, it'll be right before I get hit. And then I'm going to directly run through one of the purple circles into Knull after my 5 has gone off into the 4 to get all that accumulation damage from being knocked back and from running through the purple circle. Okay? Let's go ahead and jump into it. Switch. And I run over here. I wait. Pop the 3. Pop the 4 right before I get hit. And then I run through the circle into the 4. And you can see my damage. Then I run out, and then I'll switch when the goo pops up. I switch when the goo pops up. That way I don't get caged. Some of you can use the co-op skill however you want to do it. I prefer the method of switching. Then I'll run around and I'll wait for an attack, especially like the tornadoes pop, and then use that as accumulation damage to run through. And then you can see the purples coming, and you'll see me switch here, goo, and then straight into Dormammu to skip the Clintar cage. And I'll move into my regular attacks and rotation here. Back into Sharon. Tornadoes are coming. Pop the 3 into the 5. Use the tornadoes for accumulation damage. Didn't get it so much there. Now we're going to get a tentacle to pop here. And I use the tentacle for accumulation, and that's the first phase. Okay, what I like to do is I run back here right when he exits the chair, especially tornadoes, to draw the tornadoes back. For this part, I stand right on him. As soon as he ducks down, pop the 3 into the 5 when he lands, and then to the 4 to proc, and run his bars down without having to use my tier 3. Then I run back, and I wait for him to hit again. Pop the 5, 4, and that takes me into the next phase. Now, many of you may not be able to deal as much damage, but you can use the tier 3. Then you run into the circle and wait, and then what I like to do is just kind of wait for him to come up, and then 3, 5 into the 4, get that accumulated damage, and then I will run away. Because I know tornadoes are coming, and I know he's likes to follow you around. That gives you time for your skills to come off cooldown. Then I aim towards the middle of the arena. 3, 5, 4 when he lands to get that accumulation damage. And then he's going to run up here into the corner. I pop that, pop that, pop that, and I get some extra damage before he goes into the dragon phase. And then I just kind of stand off to the side. When you do this, you want to get as close to the wall and behind him right before he goes into the dragon phase, so the purple line that you saw there goes into the wall and not you. Try to accumulate off the tornadoes there. Get some extra damage in before he does this. You're going to want to run to the top left of the corner or of the stage to get into this circle to remove damage. And I like to pop my 3-5 just before he, like when he's going to do any jump ups. That way when he lands, I get accumulation. Now, when you get into this phase, I like to stand right behind him and I 3-5-6 because you're going to be getting hit because it's pierced, which will allow you to accumulate for your tier 3 and end the stage. That way you completely skip all the the nonsense of Thor coming out, etc., etc., etc. Now, grant you, doing this yourself, having low pierce, no pierce, whatever, it's going to take a little bit more for you to do, but that's where the tier 3 comes in. I can pretty much clear 9 without even using my tier 3 till the end. Some of you may not be able to do that. So where you see me, like, for instance, phase 2, where he comes out of the chair and I wait for him to drop, instead of doing 3, delay cancel 5 into the 4, use the tier 3 to push him through the phase. If you 3 cancel 5 into the tier 3, he lands and you're up in the air doing the tier 3, you're gonna skip that whole phase real quick. And then you'll run into the bottom right corner to stand in the circle, and then you'll use your first rotation to help charge your tier 3, and then you run away, and then you can pop your tier 3 once all your stuff's off cooldown to push him into the corner right before the dragon phase. And then what you'll do is, just like I did, you'll run in against the wall behind him, and I would spam all of your skills available. Do 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, just to get your tier 3 charged and do a little extra damage. And then use your regular rotations when he comes off the dragon to push him to the 7th bar. And then you can do what I did at the end with the tier 3 to clear him out. At least get him down to 1 bar. That way, once Thor comes out and you can use your regular skills or your secondary DPS, hopefully it's an awakened character, you can bust them out and use their 6 skill combo and finish the stage. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into Mephisto real quick. We're going to do stage 5 of him as well, just to try to keep the video a little bit shorter. We'll use this team here. It's my normal team. Same thing, Sharon Rogers. Except for we're not using, I don't even know who we used in the last one. I forgot already. Dormammu. We got Rogue instead. Now this is going to be a great example of dual DPS, right? Remember I told you about sacrificial DPS and fast movement speed. Rogue's one of those who does move fast. But she also happens to be have the type advantage against Mephisto, which will help clear it faster, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to charge up Sharon's tier 3 skill. And then I'm going to charge up Rogue's tier 3 skill. That way she's on standby. Okay? So starting out, we're going to wait for him to come over here. He's going to bounce. Pop my rotation here. 1, 2. Run off to the side. Wait for him to do his little attack here. And then I'm going to pop that just like that. Then I'm going to pull out Rogue. Use her rotation, because this is the break phase. You can't see his HP, but we already got him into the next phase, and we have Rogue's tier 3 charge. Go into her tier 3 rotation, drop it. He's going to drop the crosses, but we are in iframe, so we have a little bit of an advantage because it doesn't hit us. And then we're going to do a half rotation for her to get her charged. And we're going to switch to Sharon. He's going to fly over here. And then I like to stand right on him, get hit. Oh, we didn't get much accumulation damage there. It's okay. Okay, so now you can see we're in the circle phase. Rogue moves very, very quickly so she can bounce out of his circles and get away from him very, very easily. Back into Sharon. Charge up. Get our damage in. Run back. And that's that phase clear. Now I like to save Rogue's tier 3 till the very end. You want to dodge these because they do hurt. And I like to put them way out in the corner. As soon as he does 3 of these, he always does another attack. So we'll go ahead and use Sharon's accumulation and pop the tier 3. And then we'll quickly charge that up. We don't want to get hit by that, so we're going to dodge. Run back. And we've cleared this phase. Now we're into the end phase. So now what I'm going to do is pull out Rogue again. And her tier 3 is ready. You're going to want to kind of run behind him. Don't try to run in circles. Kind of run behind him. That way you don't get hit. Pop our rotation. Drop the band hammer. And this may finish him off here. No, we got close. But we're going to run behind him. You don't got to be afraid of him. Like, wait for him to come. Just run right past him. Stick close to him as close to him as possible. Because he's going to be very linear. And that's going to finish it. So, again, the main goal is to make sure you have somebody who's fast, i.e. Rogue for this run. Somebody with high DPS, which is going to be Sharon, and Rogue is actually high DPS too because I have a judgment on her. And then we have our leadership, which is Star-Lord. That's going to be good for Sharon, not so much for Rogue, but there you have it. That's going to be all the phases. Again, this is going to be slower for somebody newer to do, so make sure you bring the right characters to be able to clear these stages. Make sure you bring the correct strikers to be able to clear these stages, because ignore dodge and increased damage is going to be your best friend for World Boss Legend. Mephisto's harder than Knull is, even though it may not seem like it by watching me do it. He is actually much, much harder because of these facts, right? The phase 1, you can't see his HP bar, and then he has the crosses that he throws down. He's got the mini games that he plays with the circles. He's got his slam modes where he's slamming down on you, and it can be a little bit more tricky and a little bit more hectic to run through. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually a lot easier than it seems. Just pay attention to the patterns and such, and that's going to be your biggest key for success in World Boss Legend for either Knull or Mephisto, is watching their attack patterns. What do they do? And once you find your way around the things that they do, then it makes it so much easier, so much smoother. So don't give up. I know it may be hard for you right now to clear it, but don't give up on it, right? Yeah, I know most of you can clear this. There's a lot of characters that don't even need CTPs to clear it. Falcon is one of them. I know for a fact that with at least 2% pierce, Transcended Iron Fist can clear it with stage 9 with an obelisk. Now, grant you mine is with the right team sets and the right strikers and such. But there are definitely characters out there that can clear this without max builds. Stage 1 is by far the easiest. What you saw in stage 5 is nothing compared to how easy stage 1 is, for me at least. And if stage 1 is that easy for me compared to stage 5, then I definitely know that you guys, whether you're lower end or mid game players, you can definitely clear this content if you put the right setups. So make sure you do that with set up your strikers right, set up your teams right, because the way these are set up is nothing like World Boss Ultimate, which can be a little bit daunting when you're going from World Boss Ultimate to World Boss Legend, because you're used to bring a high DPS, bring a leadership, and then bring a support, and then everything's riding on that one character to just blaze through the content, right? World Boss Legend is a little bit different. You got to bring double DPSs, and you're kind of stuck between a good leadership or a good support. And those good leaderships and support highly revolve around ignore dodge. An attack leadership is okay, but if you don't have the ignore dodge, that attack leadership is going to do you no good because you're missing too many hits to actually deal enough damage to finish. So prioritize your ignore dodge, and you'll be all right. You'll have enough to clear the content, at least stage 1, to get your 1 to 3 clears a day. But having said that, that's going to be the end of this one, guys. This is going to be Locked signing out. Have a good one.